What's up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. And look, man, I want to get right into it. We're going to talk about Rayshard Brooks, who has now become the next black person to be murdered by law enforcement in this country. And we're going to cut straight to the chase, man, because there's been a lot of speculation and talk back and forth. I won't use the word speculation. I will use a lot of talk back and forth anytime these kind of incidents take place, simply due to the fact that people like to push this narrative that, hey man, this ain't about blacks or whites, or this ain't about racism, this is just about the system coming against all of us. No, absolutely not. As it relates to police brutality, man, and we just break this thing all the way down, this is totally disproportionate in terms of black people being killed by police officers. It's almost to the point where you look totally ridiculous to even try to argue against it, though many of you will. Some people say, oh man, it's a world plot. Yeah, there are world schemes that are taking place, world conspiracies that are in effect. I talk about this type of stuff in my music. Of course it is. But as it relates to police brutality, there's no doubt that black people are targeted and black people are murdered at a higher rate. So to the people that will say, wait a minute, more white people are killed by the... We're talking about the rate. We're dealing with a population of white people that represents 70% in America, compared to a population of black people that represents around 13%. Yet, blacks are more likely to be murdered by police than whites, and in many cases, unarmed black people. So Rayshard Brooks has now become the latest victim in that scenario. And once again, the smoke from George Floyd is not even clear yet. The smoke from Breonna Taylor is not even clear yet. And we have another one. And I'll get into what's happening towards the end. I'm gonna try to make this as quick as I can, because y'all can see I got a battery in my hand. My battery about to go out. But this brother Rayshard Brooks was in a Wendy's parking lot, and he had fallen asleep, or he was in a drive-through. I don't remember, but he had fallen asleep, and somebody called the police. Now the question to me is always, well, who called the police? I'm really curious to know who called the police and felt it was necessary to contact the police because a man was asleep in his car. You know, some of y'all will say, well, you're supposed to call the police. Look, we are from two different places. So I'm gonna explain the difference between the place that I'm from and the place that you may be from. Where I'm from, if there's somebody who's in a drive-through and they fall asleep, they nod off and they fall asleep because they may be drunk or whatever the case may be. Where I'm from, we hit the horn, we lean on that horn, and if worst come to worst, we give a friendly courtesy tap on the window. Hey, brother, I see you. You kind of out of there, brother. Just want to wait. You okay? You good? All right. You know, let me get you out the way. We coming through the drive. You got the drive-through blocked up. Whatever the case may be. That's just me. But to call the police, especially in this climate, I'm just curious to know who did it. Because I know a lot of white people may think, well, that's what you're supposed to do, call the police. But it's a lot of white folks I know, that grew up in the hood, came up in the hood, was around the hood. They feel where I'm coming from. So the police show up. I watched the footage. This man was absolutely respectful and calm, even though he was intoxicated. He was calm, respectful. He even offered to leave his car where it was and walk to his sister's house who lived nearby. He said, I won't drive, I'll walk. He agreed to the breathalyzer, and the second that the breathalyzer results came in, they immediately decided to handcuff him. The officer's name was Garrett Rolfe, who has won medals and awards for how many people he's arrested for DUI and things of that nature. And they decided to handcuff him. At that time, Rayshard freaked out, and he started to resist arrest. He started to just go crazy. And so people will say, Well, he resisted. He shouldn't have resisted. That argument is dead. Because I can point to too many instances where individuals did not resist, where they were totally compliant, George Floyd and others, Philando Castile and others, and they were still murdered. So the if you don't resist, you'll be okay argument, out of there. Because if you don't resist, they'll kill you. If you do resist, they'll absolutely kill you. In whatever we can think of that may fall in between, I don't know, they'll kill you anyway. So the brother freaked out because we are in the immediate wake of the protests and rallies and things that are going on, and this is still happening, and he understands the climate that we're in. He freaks out. Now what happens was he grabs the taser. According to the story, he grabs the taser. I'm not saying he did not grab the taser. That's not what I'm saying. I couldn't really see in the scuffle, but perhaps he did. If he did, fine. Those are the facts. We're not going to dance around the facts. But here's where the problem comes in. There were two officers that were getting handled by this one intoxicated guy, and that hit their ego. And as he was running away, we know the story, I'm assuming, he was shot in the back. Running away. Oh, I forgot. Let me not be accused of neglecting the facts. He pointed the taser at the officers as he was running away, or he pointed at him and he ran away, but he didn't fire the taser off and they shot him. Okay, fine, those are the facts. Okay, now here's the deal. For those who will say, well, you know what? He took the officer's weapon. He shouldn't have pointed the taser. Okay, look. A taser was not going to be deadly towards the officer. Wasn't going to be a deadly weapon. He was running away. He's running away. Officer can't say I'm in fear of my life, which is another one of the scripts, the lines in the script. Can't say I'm in fear of my life. This guy's running away. The bullets are in his back. You're not in fear of your life. You just reacted and killed a black man because he was black. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, you keep saying it's black. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I found a story from March of this year, just a few short months ago, where there was a white guy who ironically did the same thing. And he was in the same county as Rayshard Brooks. He grabbed the officer's taser. He's still alive. Wow. How does that happen? So this officer, Garrett Rolfe, had just underwent like 2,000 hours of training and courses and deadly force training and when to use it and when not to use it and cultural awareness stuff. And he still managed to shoot that man in the back. So there are different levels of tolerance. There are different tolerance thresholds between the white and the black. Just call it for what it is. See? So America is set up now to where everybody's kind of showing themselves to who they are, and those of us who point out racism, see, those who point out the racism are being urged to, no, don't do that, don't say that, don't say that. Because now, if you call out racism, guess what? You're labeled as a racist. Interesting how that psychology works. The very thing that's being done, when it's called out and attention is brought to it, oh, you're a racist because you're telling on the racist. Don't fall for that. Keep speaking your truth. Those of you who do that. Those of you who stand strong on that. Police chief of that area, Atlanta, she resigned shortly after that. I wonder why she resigned. If anybody knows why she resigned, just put it in the comments. I didn't get the story, but I just heard that she resigned. I'm wondering why she resigned. But if you look at the exchange between Rayshard Brooks and that officer, man, you see this man being so calm and so compliant to where you understand now in this America, in this United States of America, there is no win. No win whatsoever. You watch the officer poking and prodding at him. What'd you have to drink? How many did you have? How many did you have? Why you got all this money on you? It's a whole lot of money. Asking questions that have nothing to do with anything. But let me give y'all some game real quick. When police officers ask you those kind of questions, they know that those are trigger questions. If somebody asks you, if it doesn't have to be an officer. If a total stranger walks up to you and say, "Hey man, where you get all that money from? How much money you got on you?" You're gonna flip out. It's gonna piss you off because it's like ain't none of your business where I get all this money from. So the police officers, they know this. So they'll say these types of things because they know that not just black people, but the average person is gonna say, none of your business where I got my money from. Now this brother didn't do that, but I'm saying those are the tactics they use to get you triggered, so it gives them a justification to escalate and eventually do whatever it is they had planned to do it to you in the first place. So that's what that was about. But the brother still was very, very calm and cool until they attempted to arrest him because, in my opinion, he got afraid because he understood, even while he was intoxicated, he knew that I'm doing everything right. I'm saying and doing all the right things. I'm standing, I'm like this. So for them to, look, oh no, they're getting ready to do something to me. I ain't having that. And whether it would have went down like that anyway or not, we'll never know. But I understand the mind frame because I'm from that place. If you are not, that's your problem. You need to learn. The cop was fired and the death was labeled a homicide. So now the wait comes for justice. And we've seen this movie before. We've seen all of these situations where there have been no convictions. Michael Brown, no convictions. Tamir Rice, no convictions. Sandra Bland, no convictions. Freddie Gray, no convictions. And so we won't be surprised if this plays out the same way, although we would hope for justice at some point. We would hope for justice. The killers of Breonna Taylor have not been tried, have not been charged yet, and they ran into her house and just killed her in her sleep. Haven't even been charged yet. So what kind of America do we live in where not only these things will happen, but there are individuals who are citizens of this country that will justify it? Think about that. George Floyd deserved what he got because people like Candace Owens and others decided that they wanted to run down his criminal history, which had nothing to do with the incident that took place against him. So that empowers racists to say, see, he was this, he did this, he did that, he had it coming. And even in the most innocent scenarios, they'll figure out a way to say he had it coming. So let me see y'all comments down below. Can't wait to read them, as many as I can. And see y'all with the next one. That's what's up. Peace.